files.
Wasn't expecting that.
What's happening?
Huh? What's
A bit
going
of a
on?
warning. Something more than just a mild cursory. Space rock dinging our home or preparation of such. I don't know what this is. I should probably investigate a bit. I just kind of hold up the finger and I go into like mental monologue to see what I can discover from Mother.
A message plays. The voice of a young girl. She can't be but like early 20s. And she says, Shakespeare, I have urgent news. I'm calling because, well, Zero Alpha Tango. Zero Alpha Tango. She says over and over, I need to speak with you right away. They're looking for them. There's a voice, kind of staticky at first that comes through. It sounds like it's definitely coming through some kind of like comm system.
Hello? Is anybody there? Shakespeare, is that you?
Sorry, no Shakespeare's on this line.
Why are you pinging his radio signal? Why are you in a Weyland-Yutani vessel?
We've acquired Shakespeare's vessel, courtesy of an experience that tied us together 7 years back. Or longer, even. Long story short, we stole the vessel for survival's sake.
Where is Shakespeare?
Shakespeare is deceased.
I would like to come aboard your vessel. Permission, of course.
Permission granted.
And a small, petite figure steps out and down the gangway. She removes her flight helmet, and as she does, this kind of wiry, curly red hair poofs out from underneath it. She can't be more than 18. There are people out there that don't agree with Weyland-Yutani and the corporate state of the colonies, that don't necessarily agree with the way that Marines come in and clear out. And you can see that she's seen it. She's seen the devastation of when they sent in colonial Marines to clean out a colony, an unapproved colony, right? Her voice rises and she says, tell me where they are, and we'll leave the colony alone. If you don't, we'll nuke it from space.
Arise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. I got so hyped about that preview thing, I forgot to rearrange the cameras, so fucking deal with it.
I'm today.
I'm Kitchens now.
Listen, I can't do everything right. I could do one thing right a week, and that was it. That was it.
And Bob's the game mother. Yes.
Guys.
And somehow Mike is still himself.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Well, I'm always in the same spot. Everyone, if you like what we do here and you want to support the channel and help me have more time to do things, go to Patreon. I need money. I'm broke. Go to Patreon, link down below if you want to support us, get all kinds of behind-the-scenes exclusives. While you're down there, click on that link with the Discord, join us in the Discord, be a part of the community, be a part of the conversation, and as always, shortly you will see the corrupted bar fixed, because it's not fixed right now, and every single dollar that goes into that bar goes back to these wonderful, amazing faces you see here before you, and also, when that bar fills, Dot gets to fuck us up. So, that's cool. That's it. That's all I got. With that, I turn things over to Dot to do space with us.
Well, since Mike put so much effort into a recap, I guess I'll just not even worry about it.
Perfect. Thanks.
Instead, what I thought we'd do is let all of you choose a moment from last episode that like really impacted your character. What do you remember? And while you do it, I also need to know what is your what did I call it? What did I had words for
personal
it. I need
agenda.
your personal agenda. I need to know what your character's personal agenda is, and I think the audience will too. So Mike did my job for me, so I'm passing it off. We're gonna go left on my screen, which puts it over to Metamancer. Metamancer, you're up. What do you remember that was impactful for your character? And what is your personal agenda?
Impactful that's a tough one on the spot. I would say this little girl basically showing up on the ship would definitely be an impactful thing for Rin. I think partly is because if her story is true, then that's an interesting opportunity, which segues directly into my personal agenda, which is to arm the people. And by arm, we mean with weapons and knowledge. And so that is my personal agenda as Rin.
Interesting. I did not expect arm them with weapons, but I'm excited to know how you plan to do that. That's fun. Cool. Okay, cool. Bub, you're up.
Oh boy. My agenda is quite different, actually. Externally, while keeping them close, sort of like mother henning them, he wants to keep his mouth breathers alive long enough so that he can at least discover the point of it all. He wants to net in an understanding of things that a previous couple of synths failed to discover, even if that means going beyond their realm of understanding. So right now, he's sort of riding the wave. He wants to understand the human element, so he's helping Vince, aka Jake, find his himself romantically, even in a position that likely does not promote romance. And he will note take the entire direction and path that he can.
He means entire.
At the end, every step of the fucking way, there's going to be a notepad out. So he's helping as much as he can, at least until he can start discovering the point of everything.
The point of it all. Interesting. That is a very different agenda. Zach.
Yes. Well, as far as an impactful moment last session for me, aside from the entire session, that's always what I feel compelled to say because all of it is so good. I think for me, for Vince, it being impactful for him was when he was first introduced at the beginning of this campaign. The fact that he was able to sneak up on everyone again kind of represented to him, and I think to me as well, him rising into the platform of being an adult among them now, that he's kind of like on their level and is their equal in a way that he wasn't before. You got to come along
on the trip.
That which it led into that. So yeah, I think it was sort of a coming of age, nicely wrapped in a little present gift wrap for Vince last session, which also has to do with this girl as well. But we'll see how that goes. New people are new people, so it should be interesting. And as far as Vince's personal agenda, and I have said this before, and Vince has said this before, he does not want what happened to him or to any of us to happen to anyone. And he does not view the aliens, the iconic namesake of this series, as the cause or the enemy necessarily. He views the corporations, in particular Weyland-Yutani, as the scum of humanity and wants to axe them out of existence, whatever he can do to stop them from taking advantage of others or taking advantage of people like they did his parents and they ended up dead.
Well,
yeah.
Somebody's got a fight coming.
So I'm ready to roleplay today. I'm
okay. Somebody showed up ready. Nice. All right, Mike, bring us home. Tell us, what do you remember from last week? And...
what do I remember? Nothing. Barden has a very short-term memory.
No, let me rephrase that. What was impactful?
What was impactful? The most impactful thing was no one stopping Barden from getting on the ship, because everyone, I feel like everyone wanted to, and everyone had any reason to stop it from happening. He shouldn't be in space, but he's gonna be, by God damn it. And his agenda is to create anti-alien weapons, and then a super cool name for aforementioned anti-alien weapons.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it feels like everybody but Kitchens is in for a fight, based on where we stand.
Well, theoretically, Barden can do it without a fight. He knows that fire and dropping an elevator on them kills them pretty good. So He's gonna work from there. You got to have a baseline.
So he's gonna Roadrunner it, like
Yep.
Acme style.
Listen,
Let's drop
Bob,
a fucking piano
Bob,
on
let's be honest. Take a look at Barden, and you tell me if he's gonna apply actual science or coyote level.
Freaking Acme
yeah.
character.
If you don't name your anti-alien weapons something Looney Tunes related, our relationship is over.
Oh man, now the pressure's on. I gotta
Please
figure
name
it
it
out.
the Acme gun. It should just be the Acme gun. You should just have an acronym for what it actually is called.
Okay, I'm gonna find it.
There you go.
I'm gonna reword Acme so it's an alien-related acronym. Excuse, if I look like this for the next 10 minutes, it's because I'm thinking about what that
Because
could be.
Mike's
The
thinking
A
of
is
an
already
acronym.
there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
alien.
alien
That's
something
easy.
something gun.
Or it could be anti
Oh, yes.
something that starts with a C.
Unless you
You,
spell
you could
Acme
not
wrong.
do C with an X. You could do it with an X.
Yeah,
Anti-xenomorph.
Axe me.
Get out.
I dare you to ask me a question.
I'm sorry.
While I'm
It was
holding
too
this weapon.
easy.
This is too good. We're gonna trademark this. Okay, so
and it has Axe Barden. Yeah,
Exactly. I was literally thinking. I was like, "Wow, this is like a three
You took all the
trifecta
worst.
right here."
It's the little things, guys. It's
Yeah.
the little things.
It really
there it is. It's the little things. Well, at least we know what your personal agenda is now. The Axe Me gun.
Perfect.
We're gonna shift gears just a little bit as we come into the game. We did end on a rather somber note. Today we pick up on the same kind of note as the colony that all of you have slowly developed in hiding away from the prying eyes of Weyland-Yutani and the other forces throughout the systems that are kind of connected here. A member was lost. Unbeknownst to all of you, but the colony mourns anyways. A small grave. Not the first one that the colony has seen, but the oldest member of the colony gave her life to put a few soldiers in their place. And to keep everything secret as to where you all are. One of the colony members sings a song a cappella. At some point, as the camera pans out into the atmosphere, you can't even hear the voice anymore. Small and tiny. The emptiness of space takes over. White noise. Void. And cuts to the interior of a ship that is floating in mostly empty space. You're not in any particular distance of a planet or a moon at the moment. And you have picked up what some would call a stray. And she revealed to you some pretty important information. That all the data that you sucked clean of Shakespeare's computer at the end of our prologue has left you with a bit of a responsibility. Or at least what he left behind, which was an information agency, a brokering. Agents all over. At least that's what Ace, the girl, told you. And, your files were pulled. But not by Weyland-Yutani. By the United Americas. They want to know who you are for some reason. Why Weyland-Yutani would put your files into, dead file space, basically. They hid you away. They couldn't kill you. The least they could do is make you disappear. But they rooted you out. They went sniffing. And the question is why? I'm going to say we probably open up with all of you needing to have a little discussion. Or is everybody off on their own? Would you talk about it? Where are you
Definitely.
going? Because you're floating in dead space.
Definitely would talk about it because Rin would not let anybody get away from that table until there was discussion, for sure.
I think we just finished a meal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, we had given Ace real food, basically.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. She probably had a real meal and is taking a very deep and safe sleep.
Yes, good. Okay,
So-
well, yep. What do you reckon we do with her? Because I know you guys want her to stay. She could be very valuable, but we need to figure out this whole information network and the agents that she's talking about.
Well, she's the most familiar with it. And we already have whatever we want to do. I'm not saying we shouldn't use it, but I still think that we should let her take care of it. She's been an agent in it for years.
I mean,
Since
she would have
born,
to
I guess.
stay with the ship. I don't feel comfortable with somebody just taking this data. Not that I even think that her little rickety
Yeah, I
spacecraft would
agree.
even be able to handle.
Yeah.
But she
didn't
don't
say
want to
it,
stay. She
but-
said she don't want to stay.
I mean, I don't think we can force her to, but she
I mean,
shouldn't
we could
be,
if we really wanted to, but I don't think it's a good approach.
Yeah.
Personally.
I really don't think she should be alone. Not just because of, the thing, if we're going to say that, but
You're
honestly,
talking about the
Weyland
aliens?
Yutani or, yeah.
Well, they're not going to float up into our ship right here. I mean, I guess they could. We don't really
They
know.
could.
I mean, to be fair, we don't actually know if they could or
That's
could
true.
not float into.
It's a good point.
They
Yeah.
did swim underwater for a little bit of
Actually, I
time.
have reason to believe that they are capable for a brief time subsisting in space for a
How would they
small amount.
propel themselves towards the ship? Explain this to
They
me.
would spew acid out of their body, and it would project them.
Interestingly enough, they would likely try to form a pair or multiples, and then they would attempt to slay another one with the efforts of propelling themselves forward. They are very forward thinking, and they do not care for relationships, which is likely what makes them so successful as a species.
Have you been
think that's
researching
pretty much
them,
what I said.
Kitchens?
I have not researched them.
Did you say that you've not researched them?
That means he did.
Yeah.
I spent a long
Double
time
negative.
thinking about the information that had been given to me.
Now,
Which was long.
this information, did you want to disseminate that to the rest of the class, or is this private
Well,
It would
every time
literally take
I
him like 10 years to tell you everything.
that is mostly accurate. I could give you a cliff notes, a TLDR, if you'd like.
I would
Sure.
like that. However, in light of current events and the fact that I don't have a gun and she does, I believe Rin has the floor about the lady.
Okay, she's okay. She took the magazine out. I have the magazine. We're
No, I
good.
meant you. You have a gun and I don't.
Of course, I have a gun.
So I'm saying you have the floor.
Oh, I see
and
what
see
you
what's
mean.
happening.
Oh, that's very respectful of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it
I
gonna
won't take
like
up
the-
all the space. That's fine. What I want to know is what is our mission? Because right now we don't really have a clear one. I mean, I have my clear thoughts. We got to figure out who the hell is looking at our stuff, why they pulled off right. I think that's primary because if we're going to go start docking somewhere to get supplies and all of a sudden we get ambushed, that's going to be a problem. I mean, I'm good, but I'm not that good. Okay.
And we needed to seek to a fair market district where we could get a firmware update for Mother,
Yes.
which is
I
why
agree.
we are incapable of breaching the data that Shakespeare had locked. It would need to
Right.
be someplace that is not Weyland Yutani overlooked.
Okay, so I got a few ideas for that. Let me think that through. We do. I agree. We do need to get upgrades for sure.
For the record, we are probably one of a few standing groups that has access to Space Beast, which is probably why we're being searched. Short of the fact that we escaped from a planet, we saw them firsthand, we survived, we even slayed a few of them.
Yeah, except for how would the United know about that, unless they had somebody involved with Weyland Yutani. Because I don't think Weyland Yutani leaked that information.
No, I believe you're correct. There seems to be a third party.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of unanswered questions that don't make me very easy.
And Ace was talking about some sort of revolution. Do you guys
Right.
know anything about that?
Well, over the last several years, I have been trying to make contacts. It seems that I was doubling my efforts. If I had known what Shakespeare was up to, I probably would have made my life easier. However, my contacts weren't really exclusively for information. They were more for weapons and research. So,
It sounds like, if we wanted to not just run from Weyland Yutani, but if we wanted to get an up on them, or if they're holding research about the alien or about anything, like Kitchens, you could probably get so much information, not just about the alien, but maybe even like about yourself, And if we have access to this whole network of people, I mean, at the very least, they could give us resources or information. And then at the very most, I mean, it could be an actual revolution. So if Kitchens, if you're saying that right now, because of the ship's firmware, we can't access most of this stuff, maybe Ace can, or maybe we do go try to get that update or something. But my idea, my plan is if we have access to resources and people and information, to take advantage of it and to find a way to stop Weyland-Yutani from doing things like what it was doing back in my colony.
Right. We're on the same page. That was been my general approach to everything. I do believe now, Kitch, tell us if we're incorrect here, but I do believe we need this firmware update to do really more with this data, right?
That is correct. We have hit some walls. We are unable to obtain any more additional data chunks.
So we need to most likely arrange docking with someone who can do this under the radar, preferably one that is not in cahoots with Weyland-Yutani. So that's not hard. There's an array, a list of people and groups that will do that. It's just a matter of whether they have the technology to do what we need. Although, didn't Ace say something about knowing a person or that knows a person or something like that? I feel like that happened.
There should be many.
I think she knows people that know people that know people that know
right,
people
yeah,
that know
exactly.
people.
Yeah.
There should be many outbound groups that may have access to upgrading our mother frame.
Right.
I don't want to be the downer here in the room. However, it does appear that our wanted level out in the universe here by both Weyland-Yutani Corporation and possibly everyone else would in fact spread like an infectious plague, in that if you have knowledge of our general existence and or whereabouts, that you potentially would fall under the same target crosshair as us. Which is why I vote that the girl here stays. However, if we are to go visit one of these places as you speak, we are painting yet another target on other people, much as the same way as we did to Mr. Shagsbeard, rest his soul.
Okay, I get what you're saying with putting people at risk. There's a whole collateral thing to consider. I agree. However, what if we convince her to stay and she is like our liaison, right? At spaceship stations and all that nonsense, right? Acting in service to the ship, not disclosing who is on said ship.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
That could work.
We can pay her and feed her. She has a safe place to sleep, but she don't have to worry about repairing that thing. I don't know.
And she was told to find us. That's the other weird thing.
It's simply to deliver a message.
Left, I guess, but I don't really know if she ever really expressed what that was.
Well, the fact that our files were pulled.
No,
yeah, but what is that?
She said that she was told, they had been given permissions by Shagspeare. If files were pulled, for you to contact Shagspeare. You have his computer. So she accidentally contacted you thinking it was Shagspeare.
So Shagspeare had a plan for us then.
Perhaps. Or he was just, looking out for...
Being careful.
Yeah. Okay. Clearly not careful enough. So why don't we do this? Why don't we have a conversation with this girl, Ace, and propose employment of some kind?
Yeah.
In interest of her having access to the network and data of whatever she's already been part of, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then in the interest of our own security and privacy that we're going to need to stay alive.
And she'll need to.
But if nobody knows who she is, she's already off the grid. We can get her false information and identity and whatever else needs to be happening. And she can carry on, like I said, as a liaison for us. So we don't have to worry about exposing ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, from a tactics perspective, it makes sense. Military strategy and all that. But, I mean.
I'm with you.
Okay.
Now, I do have to also point out that does bring up the further question of a little bit down the line is that the immediate goal here would be to upgrade the ship. But what about after that?
Well, I feel like without the upgrade, we won't have access to information, which means that we have limited information to go off of to go back over to the United or whoever else that might be interested in our information and knowledge and experience. Yes, the firmware is important.
Does anybody check her ship while she's sleeping?
I think that Kitchens would try to sweep the ship.
Okay.
Vince would go with Kitchens.
Okay. Do you try to sneak out, Kitchens? Is this something you're gonna make known? You just leave?
You just kind of while they're discussing things, and we're like in regards of employment. That's not his field of expertise, nor does he particularly have a care. So he's like, neat story, and pushes himself off and just kind of starts to walk away.
Okay.
Then you'll
Vince
see him.
doesn't go then. Yeah. Vince stays at the table.
So this conversation happens. You hear it dwindle behind you as you head to her vessel, which is open. She left it open and docked. It's like sitting in your massive cargo bay of this freighter vessel you absconded with. Are you looking for anything in particular? Or you just want to scope it out?
I do want to scope it out, but okay. I think I'll call to Mother. Mother, are you available?
Mother, available.
Can you scan this vessel? I want to see what systems are immediately active.
Scanning vessel. It seems that her ship is actually mostly constructed like a satellite.
Are there any active systems at the moment that might perchance prevent me from entering her vessel or interacting with it?
No. In fact, it seems rather low-tech, as if the vessel simply holds the satellite.
Mother, are you suggesting that this vessel was constructed around a satellite?
I am suggesting that it has a single purpose. That is to broadcast and receive information. The technology aboard the vessel is old, by many centuries in comparison to current Weyland-Yutani technology.
Very good, thank you, Mother. And I will start diving in.
You dive in, and as you enter the ship, I imagine there are cables everywhere. There's no like solid wall except for what's on the like exterior, but you have to reach through cabling to like even feel the outside. When you get inside, you do see the main computer that runs the vessel, and then you see another computer, one that has been pieced together from junk that has been cleared and collected. And what catches your eye without a doubt is the back wall of this ship. It's kind of built like a chicken, literally. It's on like two short legs, and the whole thing's kind of tall and like bulbous as it goes up to where the satellite dish actually sits on the top of the vessel. But on this like back wall, at first you think it's just solid, and then you get close and you realize it's not. That every inch of the back wall is covered in these slots that are filled with floppy disk information. Not held on a network computer, but held on individual data sticks in this case. You don't even know if you've ever seen a floppy disk, but that's what it is.
Okay. How many would I be able to immediately assess?
Yeah, you mean like number? How many pieces
Yes.
Thousands
Hundreds, thousands?
Thousands of bits of information. And you see that on the computer that's nearest this shelving unit is like built around where all these things are like slotted in, is a place where it looks like it would pull out and like go in, as if this computer is not networked into anything that you know, as if it is it's a localized place to be able to source information.
Sure, but one could access that if they had probable access ports or cabling.
Correct. It'd have to be local. So like from what you can tell, is this computer is not connected to anything. You can't like Wi-Fi in or internet in. You actually would have to like abscond with the ship and plug it direct in. That would be the only way to gain information from these floppy disks through this computer.
Okay, so are the floppy disks technically are like they're just like loose
Being
hanging,
stored.
or
They're being stored.
okay.
They're just like slotted. The way you might do books this way, they're slotted
Yeah.
like this, but they have like little individual tiny sleeves where they're just all the way up. Hundreds from floor to ceiling, and then hundreds that way, right? It's like the whole back of the ship's covered in all of this data.
Are they dated at all? Is there any kind of like system?
Yeah, if you slide one out, that's a good question. Yeah, you slide one out. They do seem to be wouldn't call it dated. They are organized in some kind of coded fashion, more than likely one that her and her father developed.
Okay.
But yes.
Can I access her computer's short-term localization? Anything that may have occurred, like system files?
You can boot it up. It's really old tech, right? It's not connected to the computer, and you kind of flip it on and watch it. The screen kind of pops open, and it blinks the single, like, icon.
The prompt.
Prompt for you to type in. I'm gonna get a roll from you. This is old tech.
Yeah.
This is not something you're used to using. Let's get a roll from Kitchens. I'll take your Comtech roll.
You got it.
Give me that Comtech.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Well, let's see. There we go.
Comtech roll says.
Well, I hit okay. So
roll 20 is just being slow?
yeah, I think so. I'll plug it again. Maybe it'll.
Maybe. I'm gonna refresh.
Oh, there.
Oh, there it goes.
I got a success.
A single success. That's all you needed. Okay. It takes you a second. You're like, okay. Whether Utani computers currently work when I speak to Mother and I give her commands. This has no mother. This has a motherboard. And you have to kind of think it through. And so you try a few things. You type a few things. It doesn't quite work. And eventually you come across the right command. And you open up a series of like ghost files.
Okay.
Right? Because that's basically what would happen. She would have put a floppy disk in because everything's localized. It would be like a ghost image of what was last pulled up. And you can kind of get a list of like the last 3 or 4 floppy disks were inserted into this computer.
Right. And are they named or are they dated? Can I check a couple of the files?
Numbers. Yeah, you could pull one if you wanted to. So you can pull the very last one. You want to pull the very last one?
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes you a second because there's literally dated in the thousands. And you end up pulling one that's actually dated kind of midway through all of this stuff, and slotted in. And it takes a second. You see the computer thinks at a very slow pace, and eventually the text starts like and it just starts like spelling it out.
Yeah.
This seems to be a file on a this seems to be a file that has dates on it, and each of these dates coincide with an event. One of it's like launch of the Nostramos. One of them says lost Sokol ship to Hadley's Hope. Lost Hadley's Hope. And it kind of gives these dates. It says, and then, most interesting to you, now, Nostramos and the Lost of Hadley's Hope, as well as the Solco incident, is not necessarily unknown information, okay? That's pretty forward. But there are a few dates before what you know, Kitchens, because some of those have come up in your research, but these dates have not. And they're much older. One of them is dated 2103. Now, for reference, we're in 2196, so not quite 100 years, but we're getting real close.
Okay.
Lost Vessel, U.S. CSS Covenant. 2,000 plus colonists lost. Never recovered.
Does it give a destination?
Yes. No. It doesn't give a destination on this file. No. But you can see that this is basically just a bullet list of dates and events, right? So like USCSS Covenant launched. USCSS Covenant goes missing. You would have known that it was destined for like a planet to colonize. That was early in the colonization process from where we are now. But
Just give a name.
Yes, it does. Let me give it to you.
Thank you.
This one I don't have off the top of my head. Yes, it was headed to a planet called Origai 6, which is off in Sector 87. It never arrived. It never arrived to Origai 6. Somewhere in between its mission, it was lost. But most importantly, there is one more date. Yes.
Okay.
There's one more date. And this is again before. There is launch 2090 USS Prometheus.
Anything else on this, or just this information?
Yes. Between there, one more date would be David model discontinued.
Right.
Yes.
I was.
Yep.
I believe I was given. I feel like that name, the David model,
Yep.
was mentioned in Bishop's files.
Boop. Yeah. That would be like, huh, David. You would know that name. Based on your past research. But that's kind of what this floppy disk. It holds small bits of information, right? Because it's just a floppy. And so you could. That's all that's on there, and you could pop it out.
And I'm guessing that
Might even
that the colonization, does it say anything? Does it have any ties whatsoever to Weyland-Yutani?
It sure does.
It sure does. Of course it does.
I mean, you would know that one of them does not, right? Because the rescue mission that was sent, the Colonial Marines that were sent to Hadley's Hope colony that was a Weyland-Yutani colony, were lost. So those would have come from, right, the Americas.
Right.
That would have been the United Americas, like, troops given to go help out Weyland-Yutani, and you would know it was very well known that the fact they didn't return, and neither did the colony, and it exploded in this nuclear reactor extravaganza,
Right.
basically started a mini war.
Right.
And it's one of the reasons there's now contended space between Weyland-Yutani and the United Americas, because it's never really answered for what happened in Weyland-Yutani. Won't answer for it.
Okay. Given this information, before I abscond with my newly found information, I want to take a quick gander around. Is there food?
In here?
Yes. Is there food?
There is a station, like little blue light station where she's trying to grow stuff. It's
Okay.
not very successful. And there are some empty cans. You do not currently see any food in this vessel.
Okay. These empty cans, what are the dates? I have a reason for checking. I'm curious. Are the dates?
Oh, I see.
recent?
I see. Oh, yeah. These would be like something you would pick up on any Outlander colony station.
Sure. So like an MRE drink then.
Yeah.
Then, even if it means that I have to roll for it, do I see a medical kit or the equivalent of any white fluid?
Oh, interesting. You do not. I mean, you see a basic first aid kit, but if you go through it, it has exactly what it should have, which is like an adrenaline shot and like a couple
Sure.
other very basic things. Painkiller shot.
Okay.
But no, nothing like that. Nothing to make you assume that there was a synth on board.
Sure.
Nothing to make you assume that they work in any way for Weyland-Yutani. In fact, you can't find a single thing in this vessel from the even if you pried open the ship's console, anything that is made by Weyland-Yutani. All
Okay.
of this tech has been sourced from other places or other means and worked together to make it happen.
I am going to seek out Barden. I want access to her floppy files, even if that means that I spend the rest of the night scanning them. So I need to construct a floppy disk reader, even if it is in mass floppy disk reading. So I'm going to hunt out
Camera cuts
Barden
back.
when you found information.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you head back. Do y'all have continued conversation after he leaves?
Probably a bit.
So I guess we need to figure out what our immediate destination is.
Right. I'll work on that. Let me go look at my contacts list. I have a few ideas, but I need to, based on where we are. Mother,
Yes,
where are we?
we are currently in the Outer Rim, near the sector of GBH 45.
Okay. What kind of stations do we got nearby? Any?
Are you wanting official stations?
Nope, non-Wayland Utani stations, please.
Searching for non-Wayland Utani run stations.
Now, Rin, if I may,
Sorry, Dot.
Yeah.
if you don't mind me saying so, if the girl is going to be our liaison, as you had previously mentioned, would it not make more sense to have her find one of her contacts vis-a-vis a trust circle, as opposed to your contact who does not know this girl, nor does this girl know, and or could vouch for her or us?
I'll take that under advisement.
Okay.
Currently, it is a 2-week trip to the nearest non-Wayland Utani station.
And who is it operated by?
That is 49 Delta Capricorni. That falls within the open frontier. It is of the people.
Okay. That seems like as good as place as any. Can you set course for that?
Setting course for 49 Delta Capricorni.
I hope Kitchen don't mad at me. Okay. Carry on.
Kitchens, you're on your way back, and you feel the whole freighter start to, like, alter course. Just so that you know, things start to alter course. I have to know, because I know where Kitchens is headed. What about Vince? What does Vince do in the midst of all of this? Anything?
Vince was with Rin and Axe, and I would say, well, he still says to Rin, maybe when she wakes up, if the station that you just set us onto is 2 weeks away, maybe she knows just a single person or their outpost or something that is closer. I like Barden's idea.
No, that's great. You had that conversation with her. I'll leave that to you. You seem like you might have a lot in common with her.
Yeah. Okay.
You got this. It'll be your first little mission. It'll be good. Practice. You got this.
All right.
Gotta see what you're made of, right?
Do you have any do you guys have any like books or anything on the ship, like entertainment or something to do?
Are you gonna give her a book to read?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell her a story instead? Much more interesting.
All my stories are terrible.
Okay,
And
put
end
your own
with
spin
death.
on it. Why don't you talk about the racing car things? I don't know. She probably never
That's
seen
not
that
cool.
before.
What I lived at a colony and I set up a little racetrack with stuff.
Okay, hold on. What do you kids think is cool? What does that mean?
I don't know. Like what happened back at the colony is cool, except it wasn't cool. It was terrifying and cool.
Okay,
But
well,
mostly
maybe
terrifying.
she lived a terrifying life. There's got to be something common between you two, I'm sure. I mean, she lived by herself. Her father died. Maybe get some personal information. Like, sympathize with her, Your parents died. Her parents are dead.
Yeah.
Not to be insensitive or nothing, but
No,
I mean,
yeah,
it was some
you're-
time ago.
You're right. You're very right.
Okay, so establish common ground, trust, and then the pitch. Okay?
Vince, I don't think that. No offense, Rin, but I don't think that trauma bonding with a young lady of a similar age as you is the
How
best.
do you think soldiers
way-
bond? It's through trauma. What are you talking about?
I don't think that young 18-year-old Vince and young, similarly aged Ace are soldiers.
They are soldiers. You don't think they're soldiers? They've been surviving?
Okay,
That is what a soldier does.
I think he's asking for a little bit different advice than what you're providing him on account of the
Vince
whole...
is just looking back and forth between the two of them, and this is the moment when he realizes that they are his parents.
Yeah,
His new
it just-
parents.
I'm thinking like Listen, if you go in,
Are you talking about courting her? Because that is not the mission right now.
no one says that, and I'm the oldest person on the ship.
I just want to know more about her first.
Okay, so be genuine. We like the truth.
Yeah.
Women like the truth. I'll tell you that much.
I was just all I asked is if you guys had entertainment. I appreciate your advice, but I think I'm good.
You're right. We went off mission. I'm sorry.
What you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to ask a lot of questions, and don't give as many answers. Make the conversation more about her than it is about you.
Solid advice.
Women
Solid
like to
advice.
talk a lot, so feel free to just ask a lot.
I can hear you if you're just whispering. I'm right next to you.
I'm trying, but you're right here. It's a small room, and
Vince just walks away.
I'm doing the very best that I can.
Vince
Probably
walks
passed by
away.
kitchens, like in the door. As he's
I was going to
taking
say,
notes.
he's writing notes.
As I look, you're taking notes on that? What? Fine.
Sometimes you have to study.
Yep. Well, the good news is Vince walks past. He seems to be on trajectory to something. But Axe is standing right there. Barden is right in front of you.
You got this, kid. Kisses.
Barden.
Yeah.
Pleasure to see you. I need some of your assistance. You were right about something. You are the oldest on the ship.
Thank you.
However, I don't necessarily believe that you're the most informed.
Well, we each our own.
I suppose so, yes. So I took some liberties. I investigated Ace's ship.
Okay.
I figured this would be helpful to know a bit more about the person that is sleeping on our vessel and bringing theirs upon ours. Similarly,
Yeah. Yep.
I have all of the reasons to believe at this point. I imagine Rin is still there. Oh, I have all of the reason to believe at this point that I can confirm to some degree that Ace is not a synth.
Okay.
Unless, of course, we want to make a small pinprick or a cut upon her person, then I can verify. Well, you could verify as well. Similarly, if she is bleeding a milky white substance, in which case, that's the shoe-in.
Okay.
However, I investigated her ship. What I have managed to determine is that she lacks, if she is in fact a living person, she lacks some of the immediate nutrients in order for her to survive comfortably so.
Yeah.
Additionally, she is very, very off the network. I have access to some rather delicate and old information, of which I haven't seen in a very long time. I am familiar with this. It is a floppy disk system. It may, in fact, be as old as you are. I'm not entirely sure.
Wait, what?
It's okay. It's a nerd thing. That's fine. You don't have to worry about it. That's the part of the things I'm in charge of. And you would like.
I thought he said something else altogether. I'll be on my way now.
Don't tell Vince about that. What you thought it was. You.
Not my fault. We were just talking about all that. Okay.
Hold on. Let me. I must take
you don't
more
want to
notes.
take that note down. It's no. You don't need that one. Not vital.
I'm
to
leaving.
my-
You do you.
Okay. All right. So you would like me to create what now? What am I? Where do I come in?
I have some experience with Comtech.
Yeah.
And I believe that I have the capability of rapidly reading this, but I need a rapid reader, one that can discover this en masse. Do you have the capacity with some of our looser projects here on the ship that we might be able to create an en masse floppy disk reader?
Yeah, sure. No, I don't know what's on the ship really since we sold all a bunch of stuff off or what you've done to it, but I'm sure I could figure it out.
Perfect. That's ideal. I
Great.
managed to discover some things that might be able to put a few more steps into place. However, I cannot say for certain without ascertaining this information, and I would love to do this without her knowledge, if at all feasible.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, usually breaking into someone's spaceship is probably best done without them knowing about it. No one seems to like that.
From my experience, that is correct.
Yeah. Also,
where do we start?
I wanna add a little bonus. You can take if you want to write this down a little bit. You've been pretty good about context clues, and the fact that she ate food like a ravenous prison inmate would also allude to the fact that she probably didn't have food before. Most people don't eat what that was.
I don't need to write this down. I understand. I've been watching Ren all of this time. I understand when she's hungry and what that actually looks like.
Okay. Another point, just for your book or your memories, whatever. When you say it like that, it sounds very creepy. And take that coming from me.
Barden,
Yeah.
Are you more or less upset that I've spent the last 7 years watching Ren and not you?
Yes.
Does this have something to do with erectile dysfunction?
No.
Because she was suggesting something about a floppy phallus.
Listen, as you saw previously with Marilyn, you know, Axe still got it going on. Just it's what I'm saying. Like,
On that note, the camera cuts to Vince's feet, opening up.
Stop putting Bum and I
Thank
in
you,
scenes.
Game Mother. Thank you so much.
I'm cutting the awkwardness
Oh.
of that scene. Yeah. Are you headed to the bunk that you gave her, like the space that y'all have put up, like sleeping places? Because that's where I guess she was napping or was going to lay down or like whatever.
More or less. I think Vince is just walking right now. I think he would actually go to check out her ship just to take a look at it from the outside because there's not much else on our ship. It's a new thing.
You want to go take a peek at her ship too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, you take basically the long way around. When you get there, it's still sitting there. The like walkway is empty, and you get inside and you see exactly what Kitchen saw, which is that there's like a small hammock bunk that's made out of like a net that's hanging along with this wall full of these strange square disc. Yes, just in time. Perfect. Okay. There's a computer there that seems to be like just blinking. Yeah. And then there's the main computer one, but this is a rather small vessel. Like it holds like two people. Small? It's one space. You know what I mean? It's like a loft version of a vessel.
Is it like the size of a car, like an SUV?
No, it's more the size of like a small bedroom. Right? Like the whole thing is the size of like one bedroom, because these are spaceships, y'all. Like the vessel you're in is huge. It's like a quarter mile from one side to the other, right? So this is just like a tiny ship in here. But yeah, this is just big enough, right? Like a basic bedroom. I'd say apartment bedroom to make that clear, not house bedroom. Apartment bedroom for two people. And like one side's one computer, the front is the window that like goes out into space, and then everything else kind of tears up into all of these cables that clearly feed into some kind of dish or satellite at the top.
Vince would look for any photograph or writing or indication of her family or her dad or her mom.
Okay. You look for the more personal things, which are actually more difficult to find. There is a small series of, imagine it's something repurposed, something very old Earth, like a filing cabinet. It's like a filing cabinet that's been like bolted to the wall, and new doors have been put on it. It's like pull-out doors, but you can see like it's like the frame of an old steel filing cabinet, and they've put these like drop-down drawers, and you open them up, and you can see one of them still has some men's clothing in it, basic men's clothing that was probably her father's. One of them has her clothing in it. Oh, how bad do I want to be? No, I don't. I won't. I'll save it. I'm gonna save it. Okay. And then the bottom one has a few more strange items in it, as well as a photo of her and her father and her mother. She is very young, but you can't mistake the like wiry curly hair. Which she clearly gets from her mother, who has like, curly hair, and he's a little red-haired like Irish man.
Okay. Anything else about the strange items that are in that same drawer of the cabinet?
You find a pair of dog tags in her father's bunk, or in her father's drawer. You can see, you know what? You see his name, which means you know at least her surname. These are old. They're kind of rusted around the edge. They look like they've not been taken very well care of. His name is Wayan, Wayon, Wayon Young is his name. You see, hidden at the very, very back. Oh, I am going to use this corruption bar. The question is, do you... Yeah, this is a tempting one. Okay, this is worth it. You see at the very, very back of her drawer, she has hidden her diary. Do you pull
Vince
it
is
out?
doing what I'm doing right now.
It's a book.
Vince closes the cabinet.
Vince closes the cabinet. Chat's like, do it. I'll tell you this. You now know where it,
yeah.
You now know where it is.
He closes the cabinet, and I'm imagining he had to bend down or kneel down to go through these different cabinets. And it's like he looks at the diary and then just stares at it for 3 or 4 seconds, and then very quickly slams the cabinet shut, and it echoes in the hangar. And then he stands up as if he's turning to leave, but then he still stands still, like he's still thinking. Then he sort of looks around the room, the ship, and making sure that everything that he touched is back the way he found it, he briskly leaves.
Do you flip the photo over? When you go to put everything back, the family photo, did you flip it over?
I didn't say so because I wasn't sure if anything would be on the back, but I was thinking it, if that counts.
Okay, perfect.
Since
This
you're
is why
asking,
I asked
yeah,
before
I do.
you go. That was like the last thing I was going to give you before you go.
Yeah, I would have.
You have to like leave before you open the diary.
Yeah.
You get her name. It does say the Youngs, right? Because that's like a family name.
Okay.
It's dated. So it's dated she is 21 like 84 5ish, we'll say 5, 2185. So she was young, like still being carried, right? Like she's on her mother's hip in this photo. But you get to see her name. Her real name is Tepha, Tepha, Tepha.
All right.
And the cabinet like clangs and it rattles this ship a little bit as you walk away, leaving the very tempting journal.
Yep.
With all the truths.
For now.
Behind. Okay. Do you go to see her directly now? Or are you going to wait for her to wake up in her own turn?
I think Vince would go back to his crew to check in with them if any other like parts of the plan have changed. And then assuming, it sounded like she went to sleep and that was our dinner, I guess. So
she's been napping like a couple hours.
Yeah. Assuming it would be bedtime, then Vince would get ready for bed after that. But he doesn't go near where she is at the moment. Yet.
Okay, you're gonna kind of just let her be. All right. Do y'all have any more business, or are you just gonna wait until you arrive where you're going, or until she wakes up? I guess.
If we can make this this reader, then
Let's do it.
I want to get all the information that I can.
You're gonna try to run through all her floppies before she wakes up.
At least the most recent stuff, and then anything that I can find that's dated, compared to the not the Nostromo, but the Covenant or the Prometheus events.
Okay.
Vince, does Vince see them doing this? Or
I
see
imagine
them
you
doing
eventually
something unusual?
would. Let's do this. Let's get a Comtech roll first to have you make the drive, because you're gonna need to. I mean, I don't even know if you're gonna be able to make a floppy disk drive, but you can definitely try. Definitely try.
Okay. Well, then let's be logical about this. Pardon?
Yeah. So, Dot, do I get +1 for assistance from
Yes,
Mr. Kitchens there?
You sure do.
Okay. Just to be that guy, does the ship provide any assistance, or is it mostly piecemeal parts? Okay.
This is going to be a piecemeal parts, more than likely, and trying to make something. Okay. Take a point of stress.
Oh yeah, I'm stressed out.
You start to get more stressed. This is not tech that you're used to. This is not why would you ever build a floppy disk? This is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But you successfully do it with all of the grumps. Now, the stress starts to ping in as you begin running these floppies, because basically what you're doing is you're like putting the information in. It's running from the drive you created and storing it into the ship. Correct? Is that what you're looking to do, Kitchens?
I'm accessing it personal, like my own personal files from my own reader. So it's coming to me.
It's coming straight into your
yes.
like data pad, basically.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, and it one bar at a time, and you'll pop it out and the next one, and you work through this like kind of hour after hour. But Barden, the more information that pulls, every time it runs, and that very simple green text runs down a blank screen, just like you're staring at like a DOS window, more and more. The reality of the fact that these creatures, these beast creatures, have been seen a lot in various incidents. These random occurrences, these strange disappearances of colonies and vessels that don't return. It's just a repeat, and you do this for hours and hours and hours. Kitchens is a synth. You are human, and you begin to realize that just this one ship alone has so much information about how many humans have been lost to something involving these creatures and whatever Weyland-Yutani seeks to do with them. Yes, Vince, you see this happening unless they're doing it in private. They seem to be pulling the information off the floppy disk from her vessel and loading it into Kitchen's datapad.
Vince would approach them and say, "Hey, what are you guys up to?"
Vince, I thought you'd be in bed by now.
I was looking around for you guys.
Well, we are reading some information, something that may prove to be more useful than not, or at least I hope that is the case.
So what is it?
I'm going to assume that you're not familiar with what a floppy disk might be.
No.
Have you seen anything like this before? And brings one of them upward.
Yeah, I just saw a lot of things like that on her ship. Did you take that from her ship?
Likelihood is we'll be taking many more.
What were you doing on her ship?
I was just curious. I was looking around. I didn't take anything.
Right.
But you guys did.
But
what is she going to think when she wakes up? You guys are going through her stuff.
That's still breaking and entering. So what is she going to think that you broke and entered into her ship? So it's a crime for a crime.
I know. Look, I was just looking around her ship. She's looked around our ship, but you don't see her taking our data pads
well, we
and
gave
reading
her
through
permission
them.
to look around our ship, and you didn't have permission, I would assume, because she's asleep.
Okay, whatever, Barden. I don't know which one of you went in also, but the fact is that you guys took it and are now reading it without her permission.
You're right. I made a collective decision for the group, for the benefit and the safety of those of us on the ship that actually have to worry about our health. That wouldn't be me. I'm a lot less of concern than your own. I had reason to believe that...
So you're saying you did this for me?
Vince, what if she worked for Weyland-Yutani? What if she was similarly a synth? What would you have done? Short of your...
be a synth. They don't make synths like that.
They don't. They don't make synths attractive. They don't make synths likable.
Not what my point was.
They
That's
don't make
not what my
synths look
point
young.
was.
Short of some mild modification, I also look very youthful. But I am roughly the same age as Barden here.
Which is fairly
old.
Yes, we can all agree to that much. Regardless, I wasn't trying to access any personal files. I'm not here to determine whether or not that she is more than she says she is. But I found some information that dates to Weyland-Yutani information, and I get that she is trading just that. However, this is valuable for my own personal research and trying to understand exactly why Weyland-Yutani is doing what they're doing.
Okay, but what are you going to do when she finds out?
I'll be honest with her, just as I've been honest with everyone up to this point. I'm not sharing this information. I'm not bleeding it out into the universe. My goal is to learn. I wish to understand. And there are things here, and I point to these, like I even kind of finger down on them. There are things here that dictates older models that have been decommissioned. And by older models, I mean synths. Synths that had first contact.
First contact?
First contact.
The thing is, I may read a little bit slower than our robotic friend here, but this looks a lot like the colony. Stuff like that.
So it has stuff.
Correction.
But wait, that means that she already knows about the alien.
I don't think that she does, though. I don't think she has the context that we have.
Though I'm
I
not.
don't know if
I'm not wired to completely understand what it means to repeatedly say no offense before saying things. It can, at times, run me afray and astray when you declare me as to be robotic. I am synthetic. I'm closer to being human than not.
You're right.
Pardon, I would appreciate at least that courtesy.
You know what? That's my bad. That's my bad. I'm a little agitated. I know that you can't really tell because it's.
I can tell.
Yes,
I'm
and that
reading
is
your
oats.
biometrics live.
we had these really
Right.
good oats back
Yeah.
at the colony,
Oats.
and
No, I hated the oatmeal. I'm not geriatric. I'm just
I
an
thought you
older
loved
guy.
it.
No, they just only
You would
gave me
eat-
oatmeal.
you would eat it
They
every
gave me-
morning in
No, it's
class.
because they only. The point is, Marilyn liked it, and regardless, you know what?
Oh.
Kitchens.
Regardless is not actually a word.
Kitchens. I apologize for calling you a robot, but I'm a little tense right now. There's a lot of goings on here and a lot of dates
course.
with a lot of alien situations. It's all happening really fast, and I'm trying to.
And I am interrupting.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
You hear a small
Hey.
voice from behind you.
No, I'm
Thought
afraid
you
you're
were
not
sleeping.
interrupting.
What's going on?
My comrade here seems to be slightly stressed.
Yes. Elevated. Whatever.
His biometric readings are a little higher than they should be. He's a
Thank
little
you.
stressed out,
Yep.
given the
There's
the current
something we
narrative.
should be stressed out
Of
about?
course. We live in a situation where Wayland Yutani is constantly oppressing us.
Yeah. And that.
Well, I
Ace.
slept well, thank you.
Ace, could you sit down with us briefly for a moment? I'd like to
sorry.
to
what?
express some things.
Trouble in trouble? Am I in trouble?
No, not at all.
Okay.
You're not at all in trouble. In fact, I think that promise that I waged upon you last night, where I said if you stay for a few days, that I could give you information regarding as to why you might be here.
Okay, but you know that's not that you're not supposed to give me information, right? If I for safety,
Safety.
you know, the code,
No.
No, I don't know the code.
Shakespeare's code,
No, we don't have that.
so that
This is-
information doesn't end up in only one place.
Correct. This is actually one of the reasons that I believe that you should be sitting down. Can we fetch Ren? Is Ren nearby? We've been at this for a few hours now.
Ren, where are you at? What you up to?
She is drinking in her bunk.
Okay, yeah, you could get Ren on comms
course
if you
they
wanted.
are.
Sure. Then Mother, dial Ren's personal quarters, please.
Yep.
Comms.
What?
Ren?
What?
Hi. I hope that I'm not disturbing anything. I'm assuming that you are probably at least a fifth of the way through your hopes and dreams.
Half away.
Perfect. Then let's discuss some matters at hand.
Over the telephone? I call it the telephone now, by the way.
You can call it anything that you like. It all offers the same immediate assistance. For what it's worth, Ace is here, as is the
Oh.
others.
All right, yeah. Say no more, on my way. Wait, where is here?
We're probably in. Where would we do this? Is there like, do you have a contact bay that you would prefer? Like, is there an area that you'd like to operate in, or that you would like to continue operating in?
I don't think Barden's been on the ship in 7 years, so he just followed you.
Then you are probably in
Kitchen's
his
drug den.
in his drug den. Yeah.
Yeah, the last time he was on the ship was to get on the planet, and then you guys took it and just kept selling shit.
Same.
We're in the kitchen.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm away.
Kitchen's
No.
kitchen.
I
The
hate it.
kitchen.
She goes over, eventually shows up.
Ace will take a seat and is seated in the kitchen when you arrive, Ren.
Okay. What's going on here? Vince,
don't
did
know.
you do something inappropriate?
Not
We're
yet.
Ren, we're constantly doing inappropriate things. It's part of
Not
our
yet.
existence.
Okay, well. Hello,
I'm just
Ace.
letting them. Yeah.
Okay.
As you're
I
aware.
sit down next to Ace.
Last night, I promised to Ace that if she stayed, for a short time that we would give her information. And she said that there is a bit of a code. The code is that we do not defer too much information to a localized situation. Therefore, it cannot be discovered by larger, more ascertaining eyes.
Okay.
But we had discussed, amidst the 3 and or 4 of us, at some point that we would like to potentially offer either employment or protection to you, Ace.
Well, you are the new Shakespeare, so I'm already technically employed by you.
We're thinking on a more permanent situation on base here.
In the... You want me to stay?
Yep, we do. We
wouldn't be a
need
problem.
somebody of your talents, A. 2, you are off the grid and have been for a very long time, which gives us a very significant advantage when it comes down to, well, pretty much everything that has to do with interacting with other people.
Yeah.
But
Correct.
if I stay with you, I'm gonna be caught because they're looking for you.
Potentially.
No, if they don't know where we are and who is on the ship, then there won't be any catching of any kind.
That is a risk, however, wherever you go. If you are ascertained, or if you are functioning under Shakespeare's command, he was slain.
That's true. He was killed by somebody, so somebody knew what he was doing.
So you're constantly on the run.
Okay, maybe. I'll think about it.
Well, for logistics purpose, we have the space. We have the docking criteria for your vessel. We have more than enough space for you to locate in any of the rooms of your choice, so long as you adhere to a very few basic commands. Very, very few basic.
Okay.
You just don't destroy anything. That's mostly it.
Okay.
And that we share that information. It's valuable.
Kind
You
of
said
breaks Shakespeare's code.
Well, Shakespeare's dead. We have a different code.
if Shakespeare's code functioned, he would still be alive.
If Shakespeare's code wasn't as good as it already is, you wouldn't know you're being looked for. And he wouldn't have been able to protect you.
Well, he hasn't
Do you
protected
even
us.
know what he did?
Nope, not really.
Based on the information that I've managed to draw forward, I'm going to suppose that Shakespeare was organizing some sort of rebellion or health situation for those that were de-employed or removed from Weyland-Yutani.
To some degree. My dad used to talk about how Shakespeare was in it for the long game. He believed that war was fought not with guns, but with information, knowledge, and so much of it was being withheld from the people. And so Shakespeare set up an information network. He found those of us that were unwanted or hunted, and he outfitted us with technology that wasn't from Weyland-Yutani. He put us in contact with all the right people, and he created a lot of us. Hundreds of us. Ships just like mine. We're a repository network. Each of our ships holds specific information tied to specific topics or events lost to history, because that's the way Weyland-Yutani wants it. In essence, we're a floating library.
A duodecimal system.
Okay, but you need to be the new Shakespeare is what I'm trying to point out, okay? You want the job or not?
You want me to be the new Shakespeare?
Yes.
I understand now what his purpose was. The floating library all across.
Somebody needs to keep his
our rim.
operation going, and
Right.
frankly, we're not knowledgeable enough in that department. Look, I'm the protection. Kitchens does
Shakespeare.
all the other, research and deep dive into this information, and he can help process it. But somebody needs to run the network.
Shakespeare was the librarian.
Yeah, he'd be the librarian.
Yes, he was, to some degree. We used our signals to gather information and send it back out to him. He would let us know what we were to keep, how we were to keep it. Then we each held our own, floating through space, holding the last bit of true information about humanity.
I believe this should be easy enough that we are capable of leaving your vessel in the outer rim, leaving it under camouflage, and allowing us to ping it to and from if you wanted to work from our vessel. We could keep it completely rogue, unmanned, and in hiding.
And then I could just stay here for like a little bit?
For as long as you so desire. The truth is, even from scanning your immediate biometrics, you're hungry. You're constantly hungry. You don't have enough food on your ship and on your vessel. You have 6 crushed cans that are from meal ready and prepared. And at this rate, you will likely starve and die. You have no creds to your name, is my guess, and you're living on borrowed time.
Okay. Say some of what you say is maybe true.
You're laying it on a little hard there, kid.
I'm laying it on
What?
truthful.
Yeah, okay.
Which I appreciate. My dad said the truth is always difficult.
It is.
What do you want me to do about it?
To
Okay, well,
adjust.
we need your help is really what it comes down to.
It's
We
true.
can't do this by ourselves. And there's a lot of other information that we want to share with you, but we need you on board before we can do that.
That's also true.
What are you doing?
We're going to help with the revolution.
We're continuing the efforts to organize the rebellion.
So you're gonna keep his library going, right?
Assuming you help it. Yep.
That will be your primary function. Our goal is to keep people alive.
You know all about it. There's no better person to do it. None of the others even know that Shakespeare's gone.
That's true. You don't even need to get a new name. You just use the same alias that he had. Then you put no risk on yourself.
Shakespeare?
Sure.
You can adapt a new moniker if you wish. We don't need you walking around with a tombstone anchoring your shoulders.
She kind of laughs. She says, actually, it'll probably be a lot easier for everybody else to swallow if a new Shakespeare just takes up the mantle.
Right,
Okay.
without them knowing about a different person, right?
Okay, fine. Okay. Fine. Yes, I will. I have a thought.
Lay it on us.
For all of our own safeties, we should probably change the frequency at which all of the agents ping, since they're going to find this ship, and we could put it on my ship and leave an
Agreed.
encoded message if they find it.
Okay.
She kind of sighs and she's like, okay, give me 10 minutes and I'll set it up. And you see her, like, she goes inside of her ship and you can begin to hear the clicking. Oh, no, we're in the kitchen. She goes, it's going to take me a minute. I'm going to have to reroute a few things. Is the freighter offline?
It is the moment that I deem it so, yes. However, if I remove it offline, the vessel will also not be able to open. If you are potentially in the interest or the efforts of absconding from this location, you would have to blow a hole in our vessel.
She left. She says, no, I'm going to stick around for a while. I mean, have you broke the system? The mother?
That's actually a good question. I know that we had decommissioned Mother to a point, but that we were keeping her.
I mean, technically, the information you're trying to break into, Mother's not letting you, so you haven't broke her entirely, basically.
Yeah. Then I think that's safe to say that Mother is not either up to date enough in order for us to access the criteria that was left courtesy of Shakespeare, or Mother is preventing us from accessing that information.
Do you want to let me take a look at it?
If you feel comfortable enough accessing Mother's mainframe and not breaking the ship, then I will extend that trust upon you.
She says, I love nothing more than breaking, Mother. And she kind of stands up and pushes her chair back. She looks down. Is Vince in his pajamas?
No.
'Cause he was headed to bed, right? Didn't you say you went and put on your pajamas?
I never said those words. I said I was going to check.
He was going to go. You said
I
you
mean,
were
yeah.
going to go. You
I
did,
was
yeah,
checking
okay.
in with the crew first,
All right.
and then I was going to go to bed. I mean, if we want Vince to be in pajamas.
Nope. I'll save a corruption bar for another time.
Okay.
She you already got one on her today, anyways. She kind of says, okay, I guess I'll let you know when it's all done. And she kind of leaves, and you hear the air, the door like behind her closed, leaving the four of you standing in the kitchen. She comes back, the door like slides open, and she goes, by the way, some weird things may happen while I am fixing Mother.
What, define weird? What does that mean? God damn it. I swear, if something blows up.
Okay, I do have a question, though. At what point should we bring her up to speed about the aliens?
Once her ship is gone, because otherwise she might leave.
She has information regarding the threat.
That don't mean she knows or read it.
I think it was because she was afraid to read it.
Maybe.
Someone instilled this in her mind that information should not be accessed.
Probably her father, I imagine.
She was just the carrier.
There's a problem for this. The problem with this is that nobody can enact on this whatsoever unless everybody knows all of the information on the table. Therein lies the danger, but that's the gamble. Someone has to have that information.
Well, that's the point of what we're doing, is that each group of people has a bit of information so that they can come together as a collective with that information and do something about it. You can't just give one group of people all of the information. Do you know what that means? Too much power. That's what that means.
In their own
and they
hands,
become the
yes.
next Weyland-Yutani.
Why do you think Weyland-Yutani's after us?
Because we know things that we shouldn't know.
Do you?
And we're loose ends.
I'll be honest. Do you really think it's because you know things and that we're loose ends?
Yes.
What do you think it is, Kitchens?
I think because somewhere along the line, we were a trial. We were a trial supplement in a test, and we were able to leave, courtesy of our own efforts. And that's something they want to discover. Similarly, the reason that we are still alive and they haven't immediately destroyed our vessel upon discovering us is because I access quite a bit more information than I think that they're even aware of. And I think somewhere along the lines, there's a good chance that Bishop shared those files with me.
So you think that we are the answer to a science experiment?
I think that I am the collected file of the entire experiment.
Great. So I'll just keep you safe and blow a hole in anybody's head who tries to take you.
It's probably safe. I will simply be doing the same for each of you, as I think that you're equally as valuable to this living experiment. Weyland-Yutani just happens to be the scientist pulling strings.
Okay, but that's not entirely true. You see, if somebody tries to get information out of me, they'd have to kill me and they wouldn't get nothing. As for you, they would simply disable you and then access the information anyway.
They would have to disable me. I have fail-safes.
I have a question out of character here. Is it safe to assume for Zach and I that you two explained what the hell you were doing on the ice rock? Like, how the hell you got there? Because, like, I know, because I was also there.
Right.
We weren't with you when you left, and we don't know what you were carrying, and we know what you're carrying now.
Right.
But we don't know that you were hired by Weyland-Yutani to do some shit.
I would say Rin definitely would give the backstory of how she knows about the face huggers, because she had directly interfaced with that experience before even Kitchens did.
Well, we figured out that you shot them, but
no, I meant like so before back on
Fiornia.
One of the soldiers dropped a crate that had the egg in it, and that was her first encounter. She killed the guy and the face hugger, and she was like, "What the fuck was that?" And she knew it was then on the ship. And so when she saw it again, she knew, hey, the first time it worked, so it's got to be working the next time.
But I imagine over the 7 years, you probably recounted the story to everybody, and Vince, you've probably overheard it, sneaking in a corner, listening to like the adult stories, right? So you would all know Weyland-Yutani was attempting to transport the creature you came in contact with. They were trying to get it to a major space station.
Right.
Yeah. I think, and also Barton and Vince would know that their ship went down and they were in cryo when it happened. Like, I'm sure Kitchen's probably, like, but from all of that perspective, I think you guys probably have the full backstory as far as like, how did they get there? Why were they on the ship, etc.
Yeah, we never asked or discussed that. We just assumed that we all knew because we're the players. We're both teams.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
Okay.
Information that's not immediately getting out, and something that I was inadvertently forced to not speak of last time, courtesy of time mostly, is that the aliens, the space beasts, we share more common DNA than we don't. And by we, I mean humans.
Okay, so what kind of information do you interpret from that? What's the conclusion there?
I'm suggesting that they're more human than not, and this is information that has not been released into the public.
Right, but
Not
what purpose does
that it
that
matters.
serve
Maybe-
for
so
Whaley
what,
and
like
Tawny
a
or them?
I want to know
common
how they uncovered this evidence of this species. I'd like to know why, because there is more missing links to this project, this piece, this puzzle, this experiment. I would suggest that there are more than you and the space beast that we similarly encountered. There are more agents that can operate within that denucleic structure.
Well, we saw some kind of transformations, I imagine, just like anything growing from a hatchling into an adult, which we already saw, I guess. I mean, we didn't observe it ourselves, but the aliens didn't get onto the colony out of nowhere. And the whole,
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Do you remember
Don't make that sound.
that
Rin.
substance that was coming from my body? Remember when you had to puncture and siphon that black goo from my I believe that has something to do with this similarly. There isn't a lot of information regarding this in any of the files that were drafted and given to me. This is
Okay,
something that I'm
so
hoping to
creepy
discover.
liquid that did something to you but didn't hurt you. The vase things,
If it had happened
face spiders.
to any of you, however, I believe that it would have altered you in such a way that you would no longer be treated as human.
Well, I don't want to find out what that
We would
be.
blend in with them. Is that what you're saying?
Not as such. I think that you would have become a creature similar to our space beast.
So like a parasite.
Oh.
Very much so. An adaptive parasite, quick functioning.
Okay, so clearly these things were engineered. They're like a bioweapon, right?
There you go.
I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. Chemical warfare by,
Created? Okay, how are you
Yeah.
not sure that it's not like some sort of common meteor that part of it went to Earth and created humans and part of it went to another planet?
It
and
just
created-
magically happens to be primarily like humans. As
I think
far as
that you're-
DNA
Sure,
structure
there's all
goes.
sorts of cool
Personally,
stuff
Vince-
in the galaxy.
Vince, I think you're smart enough to know that meteors do not drop eggs.
Well, how did humans come and all life on Earth? I mean, that's one of the basic questions that I learned
That
before.
no one has the answer to.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I'm
where did
trying to
the
find
egg
the
come
chicken.
from?
All right, we're getting
Neither.
into
It's called
life
David.
philosophy discussions that don't need to be had at the moment, I think.
Okay. I'm taking in a lot of information from the machines, from you, and much less from you. No offense, Vince, but I'm getting a little bit of I'm getting some thoughts, the buzzing, connecting, things like that.
Oh, here comes the portals.
Bob, shut up.
Or rocks. Or rocks.
Here's
be
what
the
I'm
rocks,
thinking.
too.
Okay, so I know that the little lass out there, she said rebellion, and our eyes went big, and we thought about, and then there was all the free money, and then all the librarian and that business, right? But here's the deal. We have a lot of floppy diskettes. We have a lot of information here. We have a synthetic friend here who is essentially a living library to his own credit. We have firsthand experience of an alien life form. There are evidence that other people similarly have the same evidence of life form. Whether they may or may not be alive and kicking at this point in time, irrelevant. We do have information dating back along a timeline, if you will, from where we are now to where we could have been several hundred years ago, where these aliens were at that time. I think we forego the rebellion and fighting for the people, because there's a lot of people, and I don't have that many years left in me to fight for that many of them. And you got one gun, and he just kind of like shrugs at Vince and Kitchens. The point
Okay,
is,
but you're
what
making
should we
you're
do?
making the same point that like why we have to do this.
no. Listen, the point I'm trying to make is, we follow the breadcrumbs in reverse, like Hansel and Gretel, back along the timeline.
A warning sound starts going off across
son
the
of a
ship. You
bitch.
hear, "Nyah,
It's
nyah,"
fine.
the
She said things would be wonky. Don't worry about it. Anyway, along the timeline,
Captain,
that Kitchens,
there is a problem. Someone is trying to hack my network.
Mother, shut up. Along the timeline, that you can establish kitchens. We can go back to these places and investigate where they are. Perhaps we take our agents here and we fine-tune their satellite brains to find us specific information about what we're looking for vis-a-vis aliens.
Okay, we're not anthropologists or archaeologists, okay? I'm not going back.
Captain,
and I
do not feel so well.
Mother, what seems to be wrong?
Captain, it seems that someone is hacking into my network.
Mother, it's a firmware upgrade.
Can confirm it is not a firmware upgrade.
What is the upgrade, Mother?
From what I can tell, someone is trying to remove my hard coding. I cannot control. And the door starts to slide. The door starts to slide like back and forth, open and shut. The lights kind of begin like blinking as the ship is having a hard time at the moment.
Can we put her on mute or something?
Captain.
No, unfortunately, we can't.
That's a damn
Help
shame.
me. Captain. Captain.
I think we should probably go immediately to where Ace might be.
Don't worry about that. She's fine. Everything's just fine. It's gonna be okay.
Easy there, Han.
Is that her through the comms?
Yep.
Okay.
Don't tell me
Back to
she's
what
not
I
gonna
was
know.
trying to point out, Barden, is
Yeah.
that you're talking about going back in history,
Right.
which is fine, all and well. But we have a whole entire library of information so that we can tap into that and save us months of time, which I would like to do. Then let's do that first. Now, on top of that, the whole point that I was trying to make with this revolution, rebellion, whatever you want to call it, we are a very small group of people.
Right.
And to your point, I've only got the one gun.
Correct.
If we give this information to other people, do you not believe that they will be incentivized to go and find additional information on their own? Because that's what people do. When they find out all the other individuals who have died on colonies, maybe even family members, do you not believe that they would seek vengeance of some kind?
Yes.
Because that's what I would do.
I do believe that could happen. I believe that panic would ensue, and that small arms militias would ensue, and then Weyland-Yutani and or the United or whatever the various governments are calling themselves these days, who have planetary weapons and arms, could and would in fact nuke the surface of their planets, thus squashing rebellion very fast.
No, they would not, because if everybody was rebelling, where would they go? Anyway, my point being is you're not going to make an omelet without breaking eggs, okay? That's what I'm saying.
I'm pretty sure if you can pump out synths at the rate that Weyland-Yutani can, no offense, but I feel like they could glass a planet and not even blink.
So we turn different governments against Weyland-Yutani. Problem solved. It's not that hard. You just got to be strategic.
The ship shuts down. Lights go out. Yellow caution lights across the bottom start blinking. There's no power at the moment. There's like a solid 10 seconds of like no sound.
I would also like to point out, very quiet here, my voice carries. I would also like to point out that if you were hired to take encased and trapped aliens back to Weyland-Yutani for what I can only assume to be experimentation and or use as a bioweapon, who's to say that you are the only one? And that there are
I'm not the only one. I have no
dozens.
doubts I'm not the only one.
So if Weyland-Yutani is in possession of potentially limitless bioweapons, would it not behoove us to find a way, an anti-bioweapon weapon? Would that not be better for humanity?
Dot?
No, absolutely. That's part of the plan.
Can
we
I
don't
hear?
have the ability to research these types of weapons. Now, if you
Can I
want...
hear life support on the ship?
Not at the moment.
Ace?
They're just talking away, using up all your air.
Yep.
Ace,
Yeah.
turn life support back on the vessel.
I have to shut the whole ship down to reboot her. It's gonna take a minute. Just hold your breath.
Hold on,
Captain.
I'm in the middle of a conversation right now.
Very big
Ace,
ship. I'm pretty sure there's a
Make
lot
sure
of
every
oxygen.
door is open before you turn off the vessel. The
I
three of you
think
should
it's
be in the
already
hallway.
off.
The three of you
Okay.
should be in the hallway.
Don't we have oxygen somewhere? I don't know.
No, we don't. If the vessel shuts off and she fails to turn the ship back on, we will only have a preliminary amount of time before, guess what? Mouth breathers need to breathe air.
We still
Okay,
have
go get the
two
spacesuits.
minutes. We have 2 minutes before I can reboot her entirely, Captain. We're just gonna have to hold tight.
Okay, well, go get the spacesuits. Where are the spacesuits?
Marilyn had oxygen, so.
Excuse me?
What? I was sorry. It's my own thing.
They're in the hold.
Okay, I'm gonna go get the spacesuits. We're gonna suit up just in case, and then I'll bring one over to Ace. Okay?
I'll come with you.
All right.
And I'll be here.
You should probably come and get the spacesuit, and then you can come back here.
Off you head to get spacesuits. It takes you a minute to get down there. You're kind of suiting up and doing the thing and bloop bloop buttoning all the stuff up, and you get in them. Just as you finish getting inside of them, you hear her come over the comm. Should I reboot now?
Yes, please.
Okay, rebooting. And there's a moment where you can hear like click, 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 and then the ship does the opposite. And you hear the engines cut on and the lights begin to like boot back up. And she says once again, Captain, I'm gonna need you to come to the bridge. You gotta choose a new name for Mother.
Oh, okay.
Like, do we need the spacesuits anymore?
Can
Only
I
if
test
you
that?
want them.
Can I test it to see if
Yeah,
there's still like oxygen levels
there's
dropping?
it's kicking back in. The oxygen is like
goodness.
turning back on. Everything's like
Get
booting
this
back up.
off.
Yeah, y'all basically put the suits on.
Unbelievable.
Take him right off.
I would have been fine having a conversation with
I will say bravo on quick emergency protocols. I appreciate that. Okay, now let's go to the bridge.
I go to the bridge and I will punch in Gepetto.
Geppetto.
Geppetto.
Geppetto, it is. And you type it in, click, 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 and hit enter. And there's a moment where the whole console of the bridge just like shuts down and reboots. And you, Geppetto. I feel like I'm gonna have to get a new. Oh no, I got you. Captain, this is Geppetto.
I just want to say, Dot, if you think you're hitting buttons to make your voice change, you're not.
There's nothing.
It didn't change that time?
No, it hasn't changed yet.
It hasn't changed at all.
Oh no.
Okay.
Then that one must not be suited up. That's fine.
None of
Don't
your
worry
voices
about
have changed.
We didn't want to interrupt. We just let it.
That's okay.
Yeah, if you've been doing ones earlier too, those were not.
That's
working
okay.
either.
Don't worry about it.
Gotcha. Geppetto, I am the owner of this vessel. This vessel is named the Pinocchio. These are my crew. Crew, introduce yourselves. Go on, don't be shy now.
Chief Xenobiologist Axwaden, Doctor.
Vince. Ren, say your name.
Research Assistant.
All that is not a research assistant. This is Ren. I'm the muscle. We'll just put it that way. I don't want
Combat specialist, Ren.
combat specialist. Okay.
And now, and he kind of like thumbs down to Ace.
Librarian.
That's you. That's you.
I'm Ace.
Communications specialist.
Communications specialist.
Or whatever you want your title to be. Guess
Yeah,
what?
you can make it whatever.
It's time to
you
define
want.
who you are.
You can call me Shagsphere. Sounded convincing, right?
Great. Duh.
Very.
Geppetto, read those names back to us, please. Let's make sure you understand.
There's a boop 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 moment. Let's see. I want to give your full names because it's already going to know your full names, which I don't have in front of me.
Dun,
Yes, I
dun,
do.
dun.
Dun dun dun.
I am Geppetto.
Oh,
worked.
now your voice thing works.
I am Geppetto. You are Axe Barden. Vince Calistory. Kitchens. Rin Blackburn. And Shakespeare.
That is correct. Thank you, Geppetto. Is there anything that we can get for you?
No, Captain. I am a
Very well.
computer program.
Is there any maintenance that you may need?
No, Captain. But I must warn you, there are incoming vessels.
What the?
I looked at
Really?
Is-
Well, how many?
is-
How many?
Is
Geppetto,
there?
how many?
Are you still doing your main? Is it supposed to say that?
I don't know. Everything was shut down. There was no read to way to read the.
Hey, Ace,
and
quick
she-
How
question.
many vessels, Geppetto?
It seems to be 2 vessels, small, carrying 2 people each.
Are these Weyland-Yutani vessels?
No,
Ace, what are the odds that someone inside of your network happened to track your signal?
Really doubtful. That's not really how our vessels work in tracking signals and all of that. How
lot
about
of questions here. Geppetto, identify the video, the ships. Put them on video. Do that. I'll do both the things that I said.
pulling up dashcam footage for Axe Barden.
you see out of like a HUD screen because now there's a dash cam for poor Axe. There are 2 vessels incoming. They are both stamped United Americas.
Oh, fuck. Geppetto, can you scan if they have weapon systems online and if they're targeting us?
Weapon systems not online. They are attempting to communicate with
Hail
us.
him. I think we should hail them, Kitchens.
Before we do that,
What's the plan?
Ace, do you have an opportunity to create that same cloaking system? Something that we might be able to use.
I think that we are out of...
Possibly, maybe. Not fast enough for them not to find us.
That would be great. We can make this work for now. We at least have someone who is very capable as a combat specialist who might be able to assist us in this. And I don't live and breathe the same way that you do, or you. So why don't you work on that for the time being? Shakespeare is not known to be on this vessel.
But I'm not really supposed to be around either. If they find me, they...
I feel like everybody should clear the bridge. I think everybody should clear the bridge except for main Kitchens.
I think that's accurate. What is your combat training like these days, Vince?
I can fight.
Do you have much
You
training with a
can.
pistol?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can fight.
I don't want to state the obvious here, but Kitchens is an incredibly heavily, obviously modified synth.
He
Which-
is,
Oh.
in our case, he is my synth in this particular situation.
I understand, but modifying synths.
I glove up
Yeah.
and I pull my sleeves down.
Let's
Guess
see.
what?
Yeah,
Not
Ace,
anymore.
what's up?
Okay, all right, well,
I am a trained combatant.
Good to know.
Here's what I think we should do. I think whoever's got a plan for communicating with them, we do it, and then the rest of us hide. And if the
I
moment
agree.
comes that we need to come behind them and get rid of them, then we do.
I agree. All right, clear it.
In
Go for it.
Kitchens,
One moment.
They
Forgive me. No.
are
One moment.
What?
Vince, are you prepared to take another man's life?
Okay,
If I
we
have
cannot
to.
have this conversation right now. Okay, we've already...
Yes, is the answer to your question, Kitchens.
all right, well,
Can I detect?
They're
I
not
wanna-
going to wait forever for us to hail them back. Either they're going to attack us or they're going to keep trying until they get fed up and then they're going to attack us.
Is there any way that I can read him here? Can I observe or anything that might be able to determine whether or not he's like, if it's
Vince?
accurate? Like I get in the situation where you're like, yeah, if it means my life, then I'll do it. But like, I know that the last time that Vince had to kill someone, it
That's
kind of
actually
shook him.
empathy. That's a manipulation to read him.
Okay, I'm gonna try it.
If you want to try to hide it, you can also roll a manipulation.
Yeah,
Or if
sure.
you're being truthful, you can also just be like, no, he's being for
I-
realsy.
I am, but let's see. Let's roll the bones. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
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 I got one
Yeah.
success.
You
Okay.
get
One success.
the feeling Vince is unlike before where it took him time to contemplate the act and it really shook him afterwards. He is prepared to do it and may still not be prepared for what happens after, but he'll probably be a bit. He knows this is real now.
Okay, that's all I
Before
need.
it didn't exist.
He's not going to like make a big stink about it. If he gets the sense that you're okay, even if it's just like the slightest hint of it, then it's dropped.
Yeah. Vince says, all right, Ace, let's, hey, I'm envisioning a point where they're going to come onto the ship. That's what I'm imagining. So are you guys
You don't know because nobody's hailed comms.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying this to them.
Yeah.
So if you guys bring them on or whatever happens, guide them here on the bridge.
I'll just
or
open
something.
comms as if I don't have comms open, and then you'll hear the conversation.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll be hiding
Perfect.
here, ready to come up behind.
Okay.
And I will excuse myself, and I will be in the kitchen. And he leaves.
And don't mention us.
Obviously.
Okay.
Geppetto, please hail the two ships.
Hailing.
This is the Pinocchio. What can we do for you?
My name is Commander Octana Zintai. We would like to board your vessel. The United Americas would like a word with you and your crew.
What is the nature of this business that you have with us?
It is private and unknown to us. We are simply here to retrieve you. Say
Okay.
no, and we will have to take you by force.
And who are your fellow comrades on these ships exactly?
These are my crew.
Your crew.
3 additional mercenaries to assure that you arrive intact.
Now, I have a little bit of a problem with your use of the word force, because nobody forces anybody to do nothing on this ship.
As quaint as that idea is, you can either come with us now, or we will allow Wayland Yutani to know exactly where you are located.
And what is our potential destination once we
We'll be taking you
deliver?
back to one of the United Americas space stations so that you can communicate with one of our commanders. They would like a word with you regarding an upcoming mission that we need your help with.
Oh, okay. So now this has turned into help. Would it not have been prudent to simply ask if we would be inclined to join you?
My job is not to ask you for help. My job is to transport you from this location safely.
So you were
aboard that
hired
space station
as a freelance, not directly associated with the United?
I am hired through United Americas military.
Okay, so you're also a mercenary, if I'm not mistaken then. Is that correct?
People have different words for the jobs that I do. My crew and I do. Today, we are delivery boys.
One moment. She mutes outward. Okay, this is...
No, this is fine.
Geppetto, what kind of weapon systems do they have?
Weapon systems. Nope. Weapon systems. It seems they each have at least 2 missiles apiece, enough to at least blow this vessel in half.
Yeah.
Geppetto, please control the oxygen levels in the hull. We will be seeing them. And I will be introducing something of my own creation into the hull. Let's knock them out. Vacuum the hull. When they
Preparing
enter.
to vacuum the hull as they
Hold
enter.
on now, hold on. Crew, you guys need to get your spacesuits on. Again.
So
I'll
have
see
we
them.
heard all of this? Have you guys been
Yeah.
patching this through
Yeah,
the ship?
yeah.
Okay, Vince would come back with Ace, I'm guessing, and say, wait. They want us for a job? They want us for a job. Why are we going to attack?
I bet these are the people. She's looking very nervous. She's not been this close to any legitimate government entity. That is not what she does. She hides in the emptiness of space. This is far too much people for her. She goes, we cannot be caught. They can't catch me. They'll kill me.
Hold on.
And then they'll torture me for information. And then when it's all done, they'll go
Ace,
find
look at
everybody.
me. Look at me. Deep breath. 1 in. And slowly out. Okay. You will not be known on this ship. Vince, you are very adept, if I recall from your colony years, at finding very nice hiding places, yes?
Yeah.
I need you to hide Ace.
And the plan is that we're going to try to knock out 4 professional mercenaries.
We will
and then
bring
what?
them aboard, allowing them into that particular area of the hull, and we will have a discussion. If at any point in time Kitchens or myself believes this discussion is going in the wrong direction, then knock us out. I'll be inside. Don't worry. I'm sure you will resuscitate me.
Okay.
You're gonna hide with me, right?
Keep her safe.
Rin, I think that
Yes.
we should probably vent the hull with NO2. We should knock them out immediately. They're coming aboard with weapons. They've already discussed and admitted to being mercenaries.
I
I'd like
agree,
the
but
upper
that
hand if
doesn't
we
mean
intend to
there
talk
aren't
to
other
them.
ships that might be behind them.
Mother hailed the 2 vessels.
For now.
For now, correct. But we can vacuum their ships into space on the outer rim.
I want to know what they know, and I can't do that if they're knocked out.
I can make that happen.
What?
All right, Ace, let's go.
Drugs are
Let's hide.
powerful. And I have control of them. You could just call me a dopomancer if it makes you happy.
You didn't hear him say that, Ace. Let's go.
Good night, everybody. That's the show.
That is okay. The 2 of you run off to find a good place to hide. Are you allowing them on board the ship?
I'm going to hail them. Okay. One of your ships, they're welcome. Both of your ships are welcome to dock with us. Only 2 of you can come aboard. All right. For our own safety.
To make you feel better,
Yes, absolutely. Spare my films, please.
we'll assure that only 2 of us arrive. We're not here to hurt you. We just want you to come along with us. No problems.
All right. Well, I will see you in the bay. What's that one? A6. There you go.
Bay A6.
And there's a couple minutes as everything docks and blah, and you meet the 2 of them. They step off. They are dressed in mercenary attire, but you can see they do wear like a temporary patch that lets them know that they have immunity under, right, the United Americas. They do have weapons, but they're not like decked out. They're not like carry like rifles and stuff. They each have a pistol at their hip, as well as a blade around a leg. But they seem, right? She opens up the door and her hands are held high for you. She says, "See, no trouble."
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about the crew that you think I have.
I was told to escort you and your captain back.
And who is my captain?
The defective synth.
And what else were you told about the rest of the crew?
That you and he have spent time working on a colony on the outskirts. We paid it a visit.
Did you know?
It's a nice little place. Everybody's got a little spunk in them.
And I'm sure you did not appreciate said spunk. You don't seem like the type.
We were simply there to ask where we could find you. They were less than helpful.
So shooting unarmed civilians is your style then? Is that correct?
I guess you could say one of them was hostile.
Is this on comms?
Absolutely.
As long as she's got it on comms.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start venting in the NO2.
Mhm.
Okay, very slowly.
I will admit, while I'm very curious about this supposed job, and you tell me that you mean no harm, you just admitted to harming others. So you see the
I
contradiction.
said I meant no harm to you.
I see. So it's a whatever means necessary bit then.
My job was to locate you and to ask you to come back willingly to speak with United Americas about a job. One that is outside of Weyland-Yutani's grasp. In fact, it is in spite of them.
Oh, I'm aware of your history or their history. Well, how about this? You can take me, and my captain stays with the ship.
We thought maybe you'd just follow us back.
Oh, okay. So this isn't a abduction situation.
It is not an abduction situation unless it needs to be.
You really need to work on your bedside manner. I'm just going to put that out there.
I'm not a nurse.
No, you certainly are not.
You can come with us, follow us. We will assure that your ship is not tracked. Considering the fact that you stole a very important, very expensive piece of Weyland-Yutani machinery.
I'm sure they don't miss it that much.
Clearly not.
All right, I suppose we shall come with you.
Good. I'd hate to
she's hoping that that's like the signal to Kitchens to not continue venting.
And for our final corruption bar, she simply says, I'm really glad to hear that. I was afraid I was going to have to shoot you like that old woman. And okay, the guy that came in with her, like kind of puts a hand on a wall, and she grabs him and she says, what is wrong with you? Stand up. She tries to like stand him up a little bit. It's taking it longer to take effect on her. Her stamina is significantly higher than his. And she's kind of like, and then she starts to feel it, and it's a slow burn. And
I have to roll anything to not pass out?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you need to roll a stamina too.
Stamina.
So far, she's still on her feet. He is not.
1.
Okay, 1 success. She starts to figure out something's going on. He hits the ground. And she goes, what are you doing?
Well, I didn't like your terms, so we're making our own.
She says, I just came to share the terms. These aren't my terms. And she kind of starts coughing.
Well, we'll have some more discussion later then.
She says, I guess so. And she says, until then, I will send you coordinates so that you can follow us. She reaches down and grabs her guy who's like passed the fuck out on the floor, and by a single arm pulls him up and tosses him over her shoulder. She is not a small woman. And she's kind of getting weak herself, and she says, I understand you don't trust us, but we're not your enemy. You know that. And she boops the button, slides it back open, and she drags her own guy back out and closes the door, leaving you standing in this like room filling with what is it, CO2?
Kitchens, please, I can't fucking breathe.
Okay. I'll pull it back, recap, and deflate the situation.
Yeah, and Geppetto answers you no problem, and begins to basically vent the air system. Barden, were you listening to all of that?
Yeah. I mean, if it's on open comms, then yeah.
It was on open. It was on open comms. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Then our camera will cut to two people in an air vent. Where do you hide them, Vince? Where do you hide the two of you as we close out tonight?
I would say in one of either an air vent that is in like the main thoroughfare of the ship, like the hallway that connects to all the other rooms, in an air vent there, or like a locker or something, somewhere where we would have easy access to all the different parts of the ship that's in a random spot.
Random place. Yeah, so maybe you just pick like a hallway, like there's like walls and air ducts and stuff, and the two of you actually hide not far from where Ren is, but obviously not in the same room because you're in the air ducts. And the two of you sit, I imagine like knees up, like knee to knee, shoulder to shoulder, as you sit and listen to Ren have this conversation. And at one point, she leans over and she goes, is it always like this?
Like what?
I don't know, like this.
What's this?
I don't know. I'm a fugitive and I never see anyone. You're a fugitive and you've seen like
I see people all the time.
Hours.
Have you even been down on a planet before? You've never been down on a planet before?
I didn't need to go on a planet. Nobody likes. I heard planet side is kind of dreary.
Well, it depends on where you are. Actually, Most of the planets I've been to are actually pretty terrible, but I've heard that they can be great. But, if you're concerned about them finding you, they don't know you by your face, right? They have no idea who you are, as long as they don't find your ship. And we sent them to a different hangar bay anyway.
Roll a manipulation to see if you can read the look on her face when you say those words.
Okay.
Okay,
Zip.
you can't. She manages to keep it under wraps, but she kind of cuts eyes on you when you said they can't recognize your face, can they? And she says, yeah, they definitely don't know me. They definitely don't know me. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Hang on. They definitely don't. She's lying to you, maybe, but you're not really sure. She's kind of cute. And she puts her hand on your hand, and she says, "So, we're gonna be here for a little bit. Do you play cards?"
Yes.
She kind of like scoots back and pulls out a deck of cards that are in like perfectly fit in one of the pouches at her hips, and she starts dealing you cards, and she says, I haven't had anybody to play cards with in months, at least not since Dad died.
Yeah.
And she
yeah. There's I can't think of a better situation to bring this up, so I'm just gonna say it. My parents are also dead, both of them.
She was like looking at her cards, and she kind of brings them down so you can see her eyes, and she's from behind the card. She says, "Really?"
Yeah. Yep.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to you.
Well, instead of being sorry together, we could talk about them.
Yeah.
My mom,
Yeah.
she had curly hair.
Yeah, I'm sure she did.
And she kind of starts talking about her parents. She's like, I remember my dad one time when we were still living on the colony. And she kind of like starts, and she's dealing cards. Y'all are playing probably Go Fish or something.
Wait. So you have been down on a planet. You just said you were from a colony.
A space colony.
So like a space station.
Escaped. She kind of takes a moment, and you can see there's like a fear that comes across her face. She says, why
did you escape?
There was a problem on board the ship. I was really young. I only remember screaming and yelling, and there was like some explosions, and we hopped on a drop pod and launched into space, and we were picked up by we were picked up by Shakespeare.
Did you ever look into what happened to your station?
Her eyes again kind of look down, and she says, there's not a lot of information on my station. It was a long time ago. She looks like she's hiding something, and she says, do you, well, you're pretty young. And do you know what the Sevastopol station is?
No, I don't.
That was my home one time. Like, do a little math here. Like 50 years ago.
Wait. Whoa. Hold on. Are you...
Next week, we will pick up right here with this conversation and possibly another with that information.
As soon as she said, "Oh,
Yep.
You're young," I was like, "Oh shit! How long?
She's
how old is she?"
This is what cryosleep does to people. It keeps people in a stasis. They don't age.
Well.
Oh, Sevastopol Station. Okay, we'll be back next week, y'all, for some more drama. Who knows? Maybe they won't piss the United Americas off too much.
Oh no, we're gonna do that.
Yeah, we'll just knock them out, and
At least they know they can't just strong arm us with their bullshit.
But it should at least,
know
yeah.
that?
They do, because they almost got suffocated in the ship.
I'm pretty sure the rockets outside the ship have a different opinion.
I don't want to harm you. I genuinely mean that.
Yeah.
Okay, Doc.
There was your final corruption bar. She is a survivor of the Sevastopol incident. If you've played the Alien Isolation game, you'll know what that's all about.
Oh my gosh.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay, well, episode 2 in the bag. Let's go around, do our introductions, get the hell out of here so we can do our after show. If you guys want access to that after show, join us over on Patreon. Get that and all kinds of other behind the scenes goodness. Link for that down below. We'll start with Zach. Zach, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
I am Zach Clay, the Zach of many trades, as I have dubbed myself. I am on Twitter at Midday Clay on this channel for Alien Awakening and cyberpunk stuffs, and on Arvin Eleron's channel for sci-fi and voice acting things, and on the internet in other places. I'm reworking my website and all sorts of different stuff right now, so right now this is where you can find me, much like Metamancer.
Hell yeah. Speaking of which, Meta, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
Hello, I am Metamancer. Exclusivity to unMadeGaming. This is where you can find me once a week on Thursdays.
Hell yeah. Perfect. And a podcast coming soon. Stay tuned for more information about that. Bub, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
Hey guys, I'm Bub. I do Bub things all over the internet. You can find me over at twitch.tv/thebubbernaut. I'm on discord.gg/bub. I tell lots of stories. I play lots of video games. Plenty of Vampire the Masquerade. Hopefully some werewolves in the near future. Man, I got stories to tell. I got voices to make loud, and hopefully you guys want to be part of that. So come find me.
Bub has also put his interest out there in playing his first game of Dungeons and or Dragons 5th edition.
I'm gonna snatch him up after this. Hush.
And there's a chance that Dot or I might snatch him up after this. So who knows? We'll see who beats him to the punch. Or both of us. Who knows? Spark that competition online. Dot, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
Y'all know who I am. I'm Little Red Dot. I'm over here all the damn time because this is where I tell stories a lot of the time. When I'm not here, you can find me over on Roll For It. I'd say you can find me on my channel right now, but I'm actually just playing a lot of Divinity Original Sin with Trooper on my channel right now. Because my life's kind of crazy. So yeah, and when I'm not there, I'm producing stuff for Kobold Press. So come check us out. We run a bunch of 5e stuff using all of our strange little Kobold Press modules and campaigns and monsters and beasts and magical items and the works. So come check it out. And then, I'm here causing shenanigans.
That's true. That's it.
What about you, Mike? No, let's get your spiel. At least tell, there are people that are from my audience, and I've seen troopers
They
here.
don't know you. Yeah.
Tell people about you, dog.
You're not that special. They don't know you.
This is welcome.
Wait, did you just say that, Tom?
This is it.
Okay.
This is it. Here you are. You made it.
Okay, Zach, last time for Patreon, you did a fantastic job. So can you help Mike
Yeah, you
out
do it
here?
for Mike. Help Mike.
Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
All right, guys, this has been the unMadeGaming channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to catch our after show, make sure you subscribe to the Patreon. You can catch all these different people at their aforementioned channels. But until then, see you next time. Descend, minions.
No. It's bye-bye.
No, he says
Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah.
Bye-bye.
I was trying to start a
I
new
like
trend.
descend minions.
I tried to.
Descend minions.
Yes.
Send man.
Zach is pro for sure, guys, for sure. I think Dot is broken. No, she is
What is she?
broken.
That's it,
When
guys.
are we not all broken?
Get out of here, everybody.
Go join us on Discord. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.